Welcome to A Message of Hope. I'm your host, Christina Lockett. Thank you so much for tuning in. We are blessed in the studio today to have with us none other than Dr. Bernadette Thomas. She is an author. She is an attorney. She is a radio personality. She has so many titles. God has blessed her with so many gifts and talents. Please welcome to the show, Dr. Bernadette Thomas.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being on the show today.
And thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor.
Yeah, well, you know what? I mentioned all the different titles that you have, but you do have so many gifts and talents. I want to take a moment to talk about parent empowerment.
Yes.
Parent Empowerment Center. I mentioned that you are a radio host. You host Parent Empowerment every Monday on Survival Radio Christian Network. But tell us about Parent Empowerment.
Well, parent empowerment really is my passion. Everything else, the lawyer and the book writer and whatever, that's my money making.
Okay.
If I could say that, but parent empowerment, that's my passion.
That's your passion.
Yes, and might I say, it's my passion for the Lord. And every time I say I'm gonna give it up, cause this ain't doing right, nothing better my time, but somebody called me and say, "Oh, I enjoyed your show, or I enjoyed the book, or I enjoyed the CD." So,
where did that passion come from? Wanting to empower parents.
well, really, it came out of as a result of myself. I had to take a parenting class.
Okay.
Yes, many years ago, and I didn't. I guess I didn't know how to parent, and I'm gonna just say CPS became involved.
Okay.
That's how serious it was, and so it forced me to take a parenting class, and I was a lawyer at that time, having run for judge, and here I was ordered to go to a parenting class.
Wow.
Yes, and so at first I was very upset, the circumstances that came about. But as I took the classes, and then I started giving the classes, and from then on.
One thing just led to another.
Yes.
One thing led to another. You know what? But when you were speaking right now and talking about how it came out of a negative situation but ended up turning into a positive, it made me think about the scripture Romans 8:28 that says that all things work together for the good of them that love the Lord, who are called according to his purpose. And sometimes we go through things and we think, oh my God, why am I going through this?
Yes.
But God knows the ending from the beginning. He knew in that circumstance, in that trying time, that you would be here today, talking about empowering parents.
Yes, because even during that time I had no idea. I was so mad that I had to go through that, but I thank God. I thank God so much has come out of that.
Yes, well, you know what? I remember some years back, they had a program where they wanted parents to come in, and I was excited about the class, and they said, "Oh, well, you'll get like a gift card if for attending the class." So my folks was like, "Well, that's a good way to get a gift card, But that class was very empowering. At that time, my sons were very young. So some of the tips that were taught, some of the strategies that they mentioned, I still use them to this day.
Yes.
And one thing about parenting, and I've heard you say this on your radio show, that's like one of the jobs that don't come with manual.
Really?
And so even when you are a parent, you think, oh, I'm a pretty good parent. You don't realize there are other tips and strategies that can really help you to be the best parent that you can possibly be.
Very much so. And even with the classes, I love that about the classes that I went to and the classes that I do give. When other parents come to the classes, they get to hear they're not the only one. They are not the only one who has this problem. And like you say, parenting is such a universal thing, and we say it doesn't come with a book. There are books out there, but really I found the Bible.
Yes.
The Bible is such a down-to-earth, everyday, practical way of parenting.
Yes, yes.
And really, back then, when I was studying the Bible for different reasons, I would really look at it and say, wait a minute. this is what my daddy used to say, because one of my great books that I'm going to publish will be, my daddy used to say, because my father says.
Yes, yes.
And in reading the Bible, if we just take a look at the Bible, God tells us, He instructs us from the beginning. He's always instructed us how to parent. And it is so awesome.
Well, you know what? That's what I do love about your radio broadcast, Parent Empowerment, is that it's a Christian standpoint, and you give those biblical scriptures, you know, to help parents be the best parent that they can be. So it's not just I'm giving you some tips. No, I'm giving you these tips based on what the Bible says. So I know it works because God's word works.
Yes.
You know, and I want to share with everyone that's watching right now, because oftentimes, let's just say it, we hear parenting gurus with no children. No children. And I want to share with everyone that Dr. Bernadette Thomas is not only a parent, but she's actually a great grandmother. You looking so beautiful, but she's a great grandmother. You have one son, 3 daughters. You know, your son is Miami Dolphins player Michael Thomas. You know, your daughters all are professional young women, engineer, teacher, customer service representative, majoring in nursing, going to school. You know, so your children are successful. You know, and I can speak from personal experience with your children that they're grown, but something about them, when you meet each one of them individually, you know they've been raised right. They givers. You know, all 4 of them, they will give their last. They give to the community. They share everything that they have. You know, they love each other. They love and fight with one another.
Yes, they do.
You know, and your grandchildren, you know, are already showing those same characteristics that your children show. You know, recently one of your granddaughters was at my lunch for the television show for Mr. Hope. What do you need? What you want me to do? How can I help you? And AD is what, like 13? You know? 13. Yeah, and she was so open, willing to assist, help in the way she can. And she's always been like that, very humble young lady. But it just made me think about how you parented, you raised your children. But because you did it the way God said do it, now it's transferring into their children.
Very much.
You know?
Very much. And especially like my granddaughter, the one who's the mother of my great granddaughter. Janasia. She has always been such an angel in our life, you know. Even when she was 4 years old and her mother was going through cancer. And I remember her coming into the car, and she looked at her mama, and this was the first time she saw her mama with the bonnet on, because she didn't have no hair. And I remember this little girl saying, "Mama, what's going on?" And her mother looked at her, all confused. And then she started singing. She said, "Joy, joy, I still got joy. Out of all the things I've been through, I still got joy." And she was 4 years old, and she just picked up like that.
You know, and she is a praiser, praise dancer. She, as a teenager, was teaching Bible classes in camp, and I'm saying that to not necessarily give them accolades, but just to say, as a parent, you've done it, you've accomplished it, and now it's transferring, because that's what we want. We want generational blessings. We want to be able to do the best that we can according to God's will, and then for the legacy to continue.
And I remember I had a mother, I call her my mother-in-law, Rose. And we were struggling during those times, and we were struggling financially and some other things. And she told me, she said, "Bernie, don't worry about that, because as long as your children are blessed, you're blessed." And I took those words to heart. Me and my husband, we didn't have much, but we loved our children, and we taught our children.
Yes, and it's working. It's working.
It is.
Tell us about your book.
Well, the book, A Terrorist in Your Home, this book came about as a result of, remember when 911 happened?
Yes.
And so I started writing about, things that was happening in the world, but in terms of the family. And so I put, just writing about parenting. And like some people say secular, I tried to get it published, just little articles in the newspapers and whatever. And newspapers in different formats say, oh, well, you need to tone it down some, don't be so much about God and tone it down, just write about parenting.
Because they don't really want you to talk about God.
No, and they did not. And so I put it aside. And for years and years, it was almost 10 years. And one day I had to clean my computer because it was on my old computer. And the IT person, he read it. He said, Miss Bernadette, what is this about? And so I said, I wrote that a long time ago, but it's not about nothing. He said, you need to publish it as a book. I said, oh, I can't do that because nobody wants to hear about God, So a friend of mine, she came along and she said, well, let's just write, let's just see. And she was the publisher, and so she published it, and it just took off because many people want to know about God. And that's what the book is about, a terrorist in your home, parents. You may be the terrorist, your children may be the terrorists, you may have terrorist situations, but God.
But God.
If you turn to God, if you just have faith, and faith of a mustard seed, if you just hold on to how God can turn any situation around, and that's what this book is about. A terrorist in your home, but God.
But God. Oh, wow. Yes. God can turn anything around. God can make the impossible possible.
Yes.
But we have to know that.
Yes.
Sometimes we're ignorant of the fact that God can help us. We're thinking, oh my God, we're overwhelmed, whether it's parenting, whether it's anything else. So overwhelmed and thinking we don't have a way out. But God has provided a way out.
He sure has.
That's great. I'm glad that you did release that book. So you not only have a book, but you also have a CD.
And the CD, I tell you, the CD is really awesome. Again, during those turbulent times when I was going through parenting and whatever, and just write down some notes. So my brother, who has a recording studio, he would say, oh, Brian, you need to come and put this on record. I said, oh, I don't have time for that. so one day he tricked me. He said, well, come on in the studio. He said, just talk to me about it. I said, okay. So he said, put the headphones on. And so I did. And then putting the headphones on and just talking to him, I tell you, it is amazing. I talked to him about how children are a blessing. I talked to him about, I remember Miles Monroe during this time, he was talking about your purpose in life.
Yes.
I talked about the purpose of parenting. I talked about how you become a parent, a lot of times not want to be a parent, but how they are blessing. And so this is my favorite.
Yes.
And that's how it came about. He tricked me into talking about God, but it's awesome. And it's all a blessing.
Well, let me say that her brother is actually the famous Michael Lockett, keyboard player, producer, engineer. He's worked with Bojack, the Zydeco singer, and he's worked with Christian artists, the Winding Brothers. So that's not make it seem like, because that's her brother. So, this CD was produced by a professional. And my favorite part of the CD is the parents' prayer.
Yes.
The parents' prayer. Oh, my God. Every time I hear it, it just does something to me. The parents' prayer. So it's definitely a CD that will be a blessing to you. Let's talk about parent empowerment, because you do offer your own parenting classes. What are some of the classes that you offer?
Well, parent empowerment, first it came about the acronyms PARENT, empowerment, P for protective, A for authority, R is for restored,
Yes.
E is for esteemed, and N is nurtured today. And the reason I say that, because like you said earlier, a lot of times parents have just given up. They don't know what to do. And they're so downtrodden, and people talk about parents and how parents are no good and whatever. And if their kids make a mistake, they blame the parents. But this is, like I said, it's a passion for me. I want to restore the authority that God has given.
Yes.
God has given you parents that authority. Just the mere fact that you're a parent. And you have to understand, you have to take your authority and take your authority in Jesus' name, in God's name. And so my passion is to help you restore that authority, to help you get that authority esteemed back, get that authority nurtured, because parents need to be nurtured. So many things is going on. So parents need to be nurtured and they need to be empowered. And I love the show.
Yes.
Thanks to you. Remember when we was trying to come up with the name Parent Empowerment Center, and you said, "Why you say a center? You're not a center yet, Brian." I said, "Well, I guess I will be." But, that's what came up. But with this show, I tell you, I realized I've been on the show a year, and so many parents.
You're going into your second year almost, right? Yeah.
So many parents will call back or they'll write me and say, "Oh, it was such a blessing to hear one, that I'm not the only one that's having this problem. To hear two, some tips on what to do, because a lot of times parents don't know what to do. So parent empowerment, that's just it. It's to empower the parents.
And you really do empower the parents.
Yes.
Right now we're in a season where people are talking about financial empowerment, self-empowerment, but parent empowerment is needed.
Yes.
It's needed because I'm a school teacher. I teach science. And oftentimes I sit back and I look and I think to myself, I don't remember the other children acting this way. Or I don't remember children experiencing some of the things that I see my students experience. And I realize it's a different generation. But when I look back and I'm just, on the outside looking in, I'm thinking a lot of it has to do with parenting.
Yes.
A lot of it has to do with parenting.
Everything has to do with
it is, because now, the discipline is not there like it used to be. Perhaps like, when you and I were raised, and, we did have a lot of teenage mothers, and so just that lack of knowing what to do, because I'm still a child myself, and just some of the negative things that are going on in the world, that some people are being raised by the grandparents now.
Right.
And it's not that the grandparents don't know how to parent, but they're older, and so you have to parent in a different way now. Perhaps the way they raise their children is not the same strategies and tips that they would use for their grandkids. Even with like social media. Yes. You didn't have to deal with that when you raise your children. Right. Like I have sons. My son is 17, my oldest is 17 and one is 15. So the way I parent them is surely not the way my parents parented me. Right. And so we almost have to keep up and learn.
And evolve. Yes, but we still got to go back to the basics.
We
still have to go back to the basics. And when you mention about social
media,
I tell parents all the time, listen to what your child is listening to. Listen to the rap music. Look at what's going on with the social media. Even if you have to, take the time, let your child teach you how to use the internet. This is a bonding time, because bottom line, use these times to still talk about values.
Yes.
Still talk about, don't ever give that up. Still talk about the values in your family life.
Right.
You create that value. That value system. Even though the kids are watching different things on TV and doing different things.
And you have to monitor that.
You have to monitor it, but take the time to instill your value. Because I say on the city, God did not change the way He formed people. He still makes human beings with two eyes, one nose, one mouth, two ears. Okay? But we still use those values. We still talk about it.
Right.
Okay?
So the values still work.
The values still work. Don't ever give up on value. And I also talk about on my CD, it's not too late. And a lot of times, you know, parents will throw up their hand and say, oh, well, I'm not there yet. I'm not with God yet. I don't know enough about God and whatever. It doesn't come in all. God will take you where you've never done anything so bad that God won't take you where you are.
Yes, I feel something when you said that.
You have never. So parents, don't think that all is lost. And don't think that because you didn't grow up in the church, it's not about growing up in the church. It's about knowing God, knowing that God is for you and with you. Mm-hmm. And He's with you. And because one of the main things God did, He ordained marriage, but He said the purpose of marriage, and read it in Malachi, because a lot of times, you know, pastors will tell us about Malachi, don't rob God.
Right.
Tithes and offerings.
Right.
But Malachi talks about parenting.
Mm-hmm.
And Malachi talks about God's purpose of a man and a woman getting together to have a child, to bring up godly children. And so parents, you know, just know that it's not too late. And it's no special order about getting close to God, but you have the desire to want to be with God.
Amen. Do it in God's way.
Yes.
And I love what you said, though. Yes. Just wherever you are,
yes,
start from there.
Yes.
You know, even if your children are already grown,
that's right.
You know, or if they're older, just start from there. I like that. That's a good tip related to anything, not just parenting. Just start where you are.
Start
you know,
where you are.
Start where you are. Well, you know, I know, Dr. Byrne, you are so open with your own personal testimony,
yes.
You know, and God has really blessed you, you know, with your children, your grandchildren, your great-granddaughter. But I want you to share a little bit of your personal testimony, because you are very open. You know, you look back and you say, okay, there's some really great things that I feel like I did as I was raising my children. But if I had to do it over again, because you're so open with it, you say these are a few things I would have done a little differently. I want you to take that opportunity just to share a little bit of that testimony, because I know it will bless somebody.
Yes, well, for one thing, when I first had my first daughter, yes, I became a single mother as a result of a divorce. But then my occupation took off. I became a lawyer. And so I was a very busy person, making it work, you know, always making it work. And so I regret that I didn't spend as much time or the quality time with her, you know, with that first daughter. And it's paying off, but at the same time, I still live a lot of regrets about that, you know, the first time. So mothers and fathers, I just want you to understand it's never too late. Me and my daughter, I'm still trying to make up for that time, you know. But again, the first daughter and the second and the third and the fourth, I just want to say, you know, don't beat yourself up like I'm doing. Yeah, about what I didn't do, but move from there. But at the same time, take some time to get it together. Yes.
I wanted you to share that, and I'm grateful that you are always open and transparent about that, because I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it seems like everybody is looking for that big thing. They want that big house and that big car, and I'm not saying we shouldn't have that. It is God's will for us to prosper.
Yes.
However, we have to take into account like you say, count the cost. We have to take into account, is it worth it? Do I need to do 2 jobs?
Yes.
Can I do just one? Is it best for me to downsize and work less so I can still have more time with my children? You know, I'll share my personal testimony. My first career is cosmetology. I've been licensed since 1996. And so I don't look back with any regrets, because during that time, I controlled my schedule.
Yes.
I would do clients at my convenience. And I don't take that back, because I have that early years with my sons, I was there. I was able to go on those field trips. You know, I was able to they didn't go to daycare. They never went to daycare. They was raised by me, and when they were old enough to go to school, they went to school. And only a few times they had to, be babysat by somebody. Now as they got older and almost out of school, that's when I started to be so busy. Like right now, with television, with radio, I have 3 books out, so I have special events and book signings, and so and I still try to incorporate them and include them. Sometimes they don't want to go, but those early years, and I didn't have the type of money that I could have had.
Yes.
But I don't regret that. I had to make some sacrifices, but it was worth it to live not below my means, but live, with a lower budget in order to be there with them,
And it's interesting that you would say that, because just yesterday I was listening to another Christian station whereby she was talking about the need to work so much and count the cost. And are you working so much to provide for your children material things? And it's like you said, there's nothing wrong with material things, but trust in God, because if God fed the raven, if God fed the raven, what will He do for you and your child if you just and your family?
Right.
So do you really need those 2 jobs, and your husband needs those 2 jobs, and leave the children to take care of themselves?
Latchkey kids.
Yes, the latchkey kids count the cost. But there are some people who need to work, really need to work. But again, know your balance.
Right.
And try to balance.
Right, because some
make
people
that effort. You could still make the effort and balance it.
Right, because sometimes it is in the best interest to downsize. Even if it's temporary.
Yes.
And I say that because maybe somebody needs to hear it.
Yes.
Like I said, I don't regret it. Even now that they're older, I'm still mindful of how much I'm away from them. And like I said, I'll try and take them with me. Even when I have to travel out of town, I'll try and take them with me. But I know sometimes they don't want to be a part of it. They like, okay, Mama, that's your ministry, So, and when I feel like I'm getting too busy, like I got an event, another event, I'm like, I'm not going.
Yes.
And I take my sons, we'll go to the movies, we'll go out to eat. I'm like, hey, put me on your calendar.
That's right.
Because even though they're older, they still need you.
And like you said, even though they're older, even with my kids who are older, my son who plays professional football player, it's important to him that we come to his game.
Yes.
It's very important to him that we come to his game. And it's just important, because I even talked to him today, and he was on his way going to another game. He said, "Oh, Mom, I'm so glad you called me."
Yes.
It's important to them, no matter how old they get. It's important to them that you take some time, and little things. We could do a lot of little things together, but just be there for them.
Spending that quality time.
Yes, yeah.
And quality time doesn't have to be a place. Like I said, I'll take time, I will go out to eat or something like that. But sometimes just sitting, talking.
That's right.
Sitting at the table, preparing a meal.
That's right.
And talking across the table.
That's right.
Your child will never forget that.
Never ever.
Never.
Because even like with my kids, we always we made a time to do at least one night a week or one day a week just to sit and talk. And that is so very important. Now, I talk about that with my parenting on the radio show. Take the time to talk to your children. So I say, talk so that your child will listen, and listen so that your child will talk.
Oh, wow, you got to say that again.
Talk so that your child will listen, and listen so that your child will talk.
That's a word.
And it really is. And simple little things like during the day, at the end of at the school, when they come home from school, ask them, how was your day? Because like you said earlier, so much is going on in life, and so many things going on. Listen to what your child is going through.
Oh, wow. Dr. Bernadette Thomas, you have been such a blessing on the Message of Hope. Your radio show, Parent Empowerment, when does it air, and then how can we tune in?
It airs every Monday night, 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, And you can tune in by dialing 347-237-4648 or mainly go to www.parentempowermentcenter.com. And you can always listen anytime online.
We're gonna have to do that again.
Go ahead. Go
Okay.
ahead.
I'm gonna ask you again because the phone started ringing and you're gonna have to delete that part. All right. Dr. Bernadette Thomas, you have really been such a blessing to A Message of Hope. You shared some great tips, gave some good advice. How can people listen and tune in to your radio broadcast?
Okay, you can listen every Monday night, 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. You can dial in 347-237-4648, or you can go online anytime at www.parentempowermentcenter.com and listen at any time to my many wonderful shows.
Yes, wonderful. How can we get more information about your CD and your book?
You can go to my website at www.drbern.com and you can see my book, my CD, and also the different parenting classes that I have.
Yes, well, I definitely want to say that your classes and workshops and seminars are available for ministries.
Yes.
You have many platforms that you're available for. And I just want to say again, thank you for being a guest on A Message of Hope. Much for watching A Message of Hope. I'm your host, Christina Lockett.